Franklin Coverup. Anybody hear of that before?
Yes, I have, because there was an old episode of Unsolved Mysteries that covered this, because it's a weird story and it has ties all the way to Washington, D.C. if you dig deep enough.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know if anybody else has heard about it.
No, it's been like almost totally scrubbed from the internet. Like there's 2 books that talk about it, and one of the guys who did it was one of the state senators for Nebraska at the time. But yeah, this is like the original pedo network case where people, like 15 people related to this case died mysteriously, like whether it's investigators, witnesses, people that worked with the people connected to it. So it's like a super weird thing. So 1988, this like little federal credit union in Nebraska gets raided because of like weird financial stuff. This guy Lawrence King, who hangs out with Republicans, he gets in trouble for embezzling money. But then like witnesses start coming forward, like little kids start testifying, saying that they are getting like trafficked from Nebraska to D.C. from this like whole network of people, and they name like Warren Buffett, George H.W. Bush, and the freaking kids that make these allegations against them go to jail for perjury.
What?
Like kids that are under the age of 18 that say they were sexually assaulted by these people go to jail for perjury.
Wait, what the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Like, remember the England story where the girl was like underage? How old was she? 13, 12, 10 years, whatever. Underage, drunk because she was drinking naked with these the Pakistani guys.
Yeah.
The cops show up and arrest her.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, this is like a different time than that, and it's America. So, this stuff's floating around, and like it really just got squashed. Like the guy who was investigating the case, the main guy, his plane blows up in the sky, like in the middle of his flight.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well,
Dude, I
saw your short on this. This is what your short was
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that you showed me, right?
Right.
Okay.
Might be the most interesting thing that's ever happened in the history of Nebraska.
Definitely, and I think it's intentionally in a place like that because and it's weird that what's his name, Warren Buffett lives there too, and like is like the biggest donor to this orphanage that's in Nebraska that they got a lot of these kids from allegedly.
Jeez.
So like there's like a $300 million endowment for this giant orphanage called Boys Town in Nebraska.
Jeez.
Like Boys Town.
Weird.
Yeah, but so like the people there say that Warren Buffett's like really involved with it. And like he's lived here for his whole life for some reason. So,
He lives in Nebraska?
yeah,
Why?
Omaha, exactly.
Is he from there?
Yeah.
He's from Nebraska.
Never heard him called the Oracle of Omaha
No.
before. Like that's what somebody's known as for his stock predictions and everything.
Oh, man.
So
yeah, he's tied to that.
I have a
community.
chart here that shows a lot of the people that are involved in it. See, these are some newspaper clips, but go that one. So George H.W. Bush, Warren Buffett, Harold Anderson, who was the CEO of Omaha Herald, like the New York Times of Omaha, the governor, the head of the University of Nebraska, like the police chief, all these people were alleged to be involved in it. So it's like this whole crazy weird network in Omaha. So and the kids said that they were involved in like animal and human sacrifices and satanic rituals and stuff. So all this crazy stuff. But like anybody who was really being inconvenient to the thing, like just went away. Like the kids went to jail. The investigator died in a plane crash. Then this other kid goes into a hospital saying that they're after him. This kid dies the next morning. So really weird thing. It's like the original time that we got a glimpse at this network. But I think it's like a big reason why a lot of these things don't get looked into. Because, the guy, there's this guy, this photographer who said that he was paid to take pictures of politicians and businessmen doing things with kids and, uses blackmail.
Oh, my God, bro. This is like an ongoing trend that it just doesn't stop, huh?
It seems like every single decade we have a different version of the same crime being committed.
Weird.
Where there's in the 80s, you look at the Franklin scandal, allegedly. You look at the 90s and you had the Epstein. Then you look at 2000s and you have Diddy. So what's going on between 2010 and today that this is, because this is not going away.
At all.
This continues to be a pattern of blackmail, entrapment that people are using to gain or at least uses leverage to get people to do what they want. So we know of the other patterns of this. What one is going on right now that we don't know
my
about?
goodness.
Well, it seems
Because it doesn't like that. It's not like Diddy got arrested and they're like, well, there it goes. We're done doing this.
That's why the idea that
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein was somehow at the top of the pyramid, like he was running this whole thing, has always been incorrect and naive at best. Like, you assume, oh, this is the guy. He's the puppet master pulling the strings. No, Epstein was a puppet himself. His whole job was to get in good with wealthy elites, get them on camera having sex with underage girls, and then pass that along to whoever his handlers were, whether that was the U.S. government,
Mossad.
MI6, Mossad, he was in bed with all these different organizations to get them the blackmail that they needed to control world events, pop culture, finance. They had their fingers in everything. So Rob, you're right. Like it's jumped from one person to another, but it's the same network, the same methods, and the same goals, which is to have blackmail on the most powerful people in the world.
And the question is, like, are they actually pedos, or do these people just, like, get set up to be in those positions, like, get roofied or something and get the pictures taken of them so they have permanent blackmail on them?
I think a lot of them are.
Like, is George H.W. Bush
you think
actually
a lot
pedo?
of them are what?
No,
Roofied and tricked into it?
I think a lot of it starts in a way like that. Like what I believe happened with Epstein, particularly because there were so many celebrities and like well-known people there. It's, you know, you get someone who's like a young up-and-comer in Hollywood, whatever, say, you know, my buddy Jeff has this private island, we're going to a big party. They go over there, you get some drinks, maybe some drugs in you. You start flirting with the cocktail waitress. She takes you into the back room and you have sex with her. Then you come out and suddenly there's Jeff saying, hey, you know that girl you were just with? Yeah, it turns out she's 16 and we got the whole thing on camera. Now, you can either freak out about this and not do what we tell you, and then we'll release the tape and you'll go to jail and be slandered as a pedophile for the rest of your life. Or you can do whatever we tell you, and we'll continue to give you all the young girls, all the drugs, all the parties and money and access that you want, and your career will be golden as long as you listen to us.
But look at Mike Johnson.
I
like,
think it's the same thing
I
in
think
these
Mike
other
Johnson
networks.
might be caught up in something like this because he fundamentally changed like the strongest held opinion he had in his life. Like he couldn't stop talking about the FISA stuff, like with the Patriot Act and everything, saying like we gotta get rid of that, gotta get rid of that. He gets put in the position of being Speaker of the House right as that thing's coming up for expiration, and gets in and votes it through instead of canceling it. So he goes completely against something he's been talking about his whole life and says that like he's like, yeah, I looked at the facts and saw that like why we need to do it this way. Like what facts? Like did you get whatever term you want to use for this? Did you get pedo threatened?
Yeah. Did you
Well,
something?
It's not all pedo stuff. Like
So Brandon, what
Chuck
happened to
Schumer,
the
they have
people
6
that
ways from
you ended
Sunday.
up
Yeah,
with?
exactly.
So these are some people who died in weird ways from this. And William Colby, former CIA director, he was found dead from drowning. His canoe like flipped over.
I've heard that story before.
Yeah, so he was helping the guy who this guy John DeCamp wrote one of the books about it. He was the state senator at the time. Alicia Owen, she's the one who was the witness that went to jail for perjury.
Suicide, alleged.
Her brother died of suicide for talking about it after she went to jail.
Allegedly. Yeah, look, I love all the alleged.
How can you allege drowning? That's a pretty
Yeah, you drown. Now you're drowning. Yeah, allegedly.
And then the guy Gary, he was the one who's the lead investigator. His plane just blew up, and witnesses said they just saw like a flash of light, and then the plane just like
That's it.
got eviscerated.
Jeez, man.
So like I don't know what they use on
That's
that.
a thing that happens, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, take a look at all the witnesses that claim more than 200 that were off the coast of Long Island in 1997, 98, when they claimed that they saw a light go up and hit TWA Flight 800 before the
Like a
plane
missile.
broke apart in the air. And they were like, well, it was a mass psychosis event where people, but you're telling me 200 different people who didn't have connections to one another saw the same thing, and you're going to sit there and tell them that, no, what you actually saw in front of you didn't actually happen? No way.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that the constant in the situation is the network, and the changeable thing is like this situation was the guy Lawrence King who got arrested. He was the fall guy. Then, like we said, Epstein was the fall guy, and then Diddy was the fall guy. So there's always a new person who's kind of the facilitator, but the network itself is a constant. And I think that's the big question is like whether or not like they're actually into this stuff, or they just get like tricked into doing it, and then you have the permanent blackmail on the most powerful people.
Yeah, probably a bit of both. I mean, probably, some of the people who put these people in the compromising positions are actually true sickos, because you have to be to even, level that kind of blackmail against someone. You already need to be a soulless demon, right, to do that to somebody else. So who's to say that they, aren't pedophiles themselves? I'm sure they are, but I think that a lot of people, like you guys said, just end up getting compromised in these situations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, good story, Brendan. Now that's a book. Did you read the book?
No, I didn't read the book yet, but I'm making episodes like this on my channel called a playlist called Too Big to Jail, because there's a lot of people out there who's too big to jail.
Okay. So if you like this clip, click right here, and if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.